Pues de Mix nos vinimos al CENART, seguramente reconocen este icónico edificio de la Ciudad de México a mis espaldas, y es que hoy dio una clase Mcrae, que bueno, él es una superestrella de la danza clásica alrededor del mundo, bailarín del Royal Ballet de Londres, y no podíamos desaprovechar la oportunidad de platicar con él un ratito, porque además está en México presentando el documental sobre una lesión que tuvo y cómo se recuperó de esta lesión y pudo volver a bailar cuando todo el mundo le decía que incluso así iba a tener que caminar con problemas. Vamos además a platicar con Tonatiuh Gómez. Él es bailarín mexicano, es de nuestras estrellas mexicanas también en el mundo de la danza. Él está en el Ballet de San Diego y él es el responsable de traer a Mcrae a México. Él tiene su fundación, Fundación Tonatiuh Gómez, y también nos va a estar contando todo sobre el trabajo que están haciendo increíble para seguir apoyando la danza en nuestro país, un tema del que tenemos que hablar porque vaya que hay grandes bailarines en nuestro país. Disfrútenlo.
Well, Stephen, I was wondering if you could start by telling us a little bit about what brought you to Mexico.
Well, I was fortunate to be invited to teach at the Encuentro 540, which is happening this week. So it's a huge honor to obviously have been invited. I know that there's a huge love of dance and a real passion for dance growing stronger and stronger in Mexico. So I've been fortunate already to visit a long time ago with the Royal Ballet. We came on tour, and I have very fond memories of my time there, but I've been wanting to return ever since. So the opportunity to come and teach came along, so I'll be very lucky to be teaching some wonderful students across 4 or 5 days. So I'm looking forward to it.
And you're here presenting your documentary, A Resilient Man. Now, this film obviously explores your resilience, of course, it's in the title. But to me, it seems like it's a story also about determination, the determination to keep dancing, to keep doing what you're passionate about. But I feel also to not let others tell you where your limitations are, what you can or cannot do. So I was hoping you could also tell us something about that, because I feel it's a very inspiring message.
Yeah, the world of dance opened up the entire world to me. I grew up in a very small town in Sydney, Australia, and many people would say that that area was, at the time, culturally starved. I didn't see theatre, I wasn't surrounded by the arts. I was very fortunate that my sister inspired me to go along to a dance lesson. So that opportunity opened up the entire world literally to me. The career in dance has enabled me to travel to incredible places like Mexico that I would never have been able to have dreamed of doing as a child. When you pursue a passion that becomes your entire life, it's your job, you then become very protective of that passion. And in an art form like dance, where it is so physical, it feels as if it can be taken away from you at any moment. And when you have a huge injury, that is partly the reality. I wasn't going to give up everything I've had to fight for without a huge, huge fight. And that's what I think this film is about. It's just highlighting that all of us, no matter what our professions or passions are, we all have challenges, hurdles, obstacles, but we have a choice of how we tackle those. You can choose the negative side or the positive side. And I've always chosen the positive side. It's not always easy to do that, and it's not always practically possible. But if the mentality is, okay, I find a way, then I think you can achieve things that you didn't even know you were capable of. And sometimes, not sometimes, I think all the time, when you're faced with obstacles or these challenges, you find out things about yourself, about those around you, about the art form that you didn't know even existed. So I have oddly no regrets about the injuries I've sustained throughout this profession, because it's carving a different journey for me. It's teaching me things that I could never have been taught by anybody. I've had to experience them myself. And I think the film highlights that. The film is obviously focused on me, which is in the dance world, but the film's not about dance. It's more the human story behind these obstacles.
And you were just saying about how dance opened up the world for you. And I was wondering, I mean, you discovered dance almost by chance, right? Because
Yes.
your sister inspired you to go
Yes.
to a lesson. And how did you realize that this was what you wanted to dedicate your life to? And what did it give you as a child also to continue on that path?
For me, dance completely transformed who I am as a human. As a young 7-year-old, I was incredibly shy. I wouldn't speak to anybody. There's no way I would ever express myself. I walked into the studio for the first time and dance completely exploded a new world in front of me. It felt like I was a tiger unleashed. Which might sound a bizarre picture, but that was the reality. I felt this unexplored, explosive freedom that I had not felt yet. I mean, I was only 7 years old, but to experience that at such a young age, it became like a drug. I wanted to feel that more and more and more. So I knew very quickly that I wanted to do more of it. I just didn't know dance was something you could do professionally for a living. That wasn't until I was, about 14 or 15 that my teachers at the time said, you could do this for the rest of your life if you wanted to.
And just my last question, because we were at your master class, and it seemed to me very interesting to see how you were talking about dance as not something that you should worry so much of it being technically perfect, but you have to connect with the audience. You have to send a message. You have to be emotionally involved with what you're doing. So I was thinking, what would you say to the Mexican audience about what that message needs to be in dance?
I genuinely think dance is for everybody. Everybody's not going to pursue it as a career, of course, but dance is one of the most primal art forms. It's the most primal way of communicating that we've done for thousands of years. The human body, the way you can communicate with just the way you stand, the way you cross your arms, the way you look at somebody, that's what dance is, and every single person can do that in some way. Those who are wanting to pursue it professionally as a career, the most vital thing is to remember why you wanted to dance in the first place. As a young child, you were not focused on trying to be perfect. You felt that freedom, that openness to explore and to feel something new. And I encourage people to remind themselves daily about that, because like any profession, you get so caught up on the ins and outs of how things should or shouldn't be done. But at the end of the day, ballet, dance, it's art. And there are no rules. How you interpret it, it's going to be very different to the next person. So never, ever, ever try and replicate what somebody else has done. Be unique. The greatest artists I love watching on stage are those that are not afraid to try something and to be unlike anybody else.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. We won't take any more of your time
No, it's
because
my
you have
pleasure.
to go to her cocktail. But thank you so much.
Pleasure.
It was